we're clear through the fact that the basic resources are water, soil, and air. Those are the resources without which we do not have life. And if we ruin them, which we're very close to doing in many places, the tipping point has been passed, it's going to take an enormous effort to restore the basic dynamic equilibrium of those core resources. So one of the things that was very visionary in the midst of this economic meltdown, because we can't eat money. You know, somehow we lost track of the way nature produces wealth. And hopefully this, quote, meltdown will institute a whole new serious conversation about the wealth of nature and how it really works. So, for instance, the Earth Institute at Columbia University and other programs around the world and scientists around the world are trying very hard to understand these dynamics, look at new ways of interacting with our natural world and the natural kingdoms. And a key, which is why I'm very happy to see you here today, is how we're going to put that in media terms that also engage large populations in not only conservation activity but restoration activity, and engage our global economic realities in a whole new structure. So, for instance, I want to mention a couple of things. One is something called the International Year of Planet Earth. It's an Earth Science for Society initiative that was originated with Tanzania as the sponsoring country at UNESCO in Paris, and then came to the General Assembly here in New York at UN headquarters. And it's been a 3-year process of creating an earth science educational initiative, partly to get young people to choose a career in earth science, and partly to put earth science more in front of policymakers and decision makers so that we could factor things in based on the best knowledge that we have. Now there are over 80 countries. If you go to www.yearofplanetearth.org, you'll find the website. You'll see the countries that already are officially involved and the countries that are becoming involved. It's a 3-year program which will officially, in the current charter, end at the end of 2009, and then it will go forward into possibly a Planet Earth 2020 or a next iteration, now that the structure is in place. It's almost like a parallel UN that's based on earth science. So that's one very important thing. A sister site to that is www.onegeology.org, which is a compendium of the national geological surveys of 80 countries and growing, which give us an inventory of what's under the crust of the earth. What are the minerals that we know are there? What are the water qualities that we know there? Other people are doing studies of the soil qualities, electronic studies. So hopefully with this wonderful tool we have called the internet and cyber reality, cyberspace, we're going to soon have an inventory it may not be every country, but will be enough countries that we can really look at what a new economic model could look like. Let's say instead of just having a global gambling casino, which is what we have had with the World Financial Gambling Casino, we had a world economic inventory that was based on solar credits. How much solar power does a specific region have? Hydrology power, hydroelectrics, wind power, geothermal power. And then what are the credits that if a country didn't need to mine, let's say we already could recycle certain kinds of elements that we have, a country might be able to get credits for what it keeps in the ground as a reserve bank, a global reserve bank. So just a little idea off the top of some heads of some people who think about these things. Then we have the inventory of intellectual property and digital assets, the media assets that we have that can be used and repurposed in various different educational and organizational development, education, financing, training for development formats. So we potentially have a whole new economic model that could be based on real wealth of nature, parameters and metrics, real intellectual property, wealth and parameters and resources, and a socially just system that's based on really thinking about common stewardship and common ownership of the earth. So
Do you link that to forests?
I do. And I've just been sitting in today on the first day of the Forest Forum here at UN headquarters in New York. I'm not a specialist in forests. I'm more of a digital assets person, but I know that the forests provide the lungs of the planet. They provide food and shelter and many things. And I would think that cubic feet of forestry should be a credit system of some sort, or cubic inches, or I don't know how it would work. And the fiber and the roots and how it affects soil and all these different things, there must be some way to create a credit system that's based on the value and the value added that a forest and a healthy forest management can bring to the planet. So we hear a lot of agonizing about where the funds are going to come from for sustainable forest management. Perhaps it's a whole new way of thinking that needs to happen, and evaluating and crediting the healthy forests that we have, the earth restoration processes that we need to do to reforest and replant deserts, and so on and so forth. There are many people thinking about these things. I've just done very broad